أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So mine is just to give you a brief of this World Federation Tarbiyah Quran Curriculum, TQC in short. So first we will just go through the introduction part, which is broken down into four. Basically the background of the curriculum, the layout of the manual, the feature of the manual, and the implementation tips as prescribed by the World Federation. Okay. In short, I'll not go much into detail because it's a historical journey, how they've developed, but it started in the Quran conference in May 2022, and this is the way they went, the steps that they took. So they researched global appetite for Quran curriculum. Then there was this Quran conference in May 2022. Then there was a survey of the current Quran teaching practices. They studied the existing curriculum and the teachers that were there in the community that could teach Quran. So they did all this research, and then they went into the Uthmān Ṭāhā script. And then the creation of the Tarbiyah Quran Curriculum, this curriculum that we are going to go through in short, in a short while. And then they did a pilot program in 3 madrasas. Not here, it was one in UK, one in Canada, and the other one I think in Dubai. So then they got experts' feedback, and then now they brought this after it was successful, the pilot program was successful. We had gone for a training in just before Muharram in Dar es Salaam. So that training was to train the pilot teachers. So from the Gen side, I was representing. Basically, the other 2 representatives were not available. So I had to go. And from the ladies, we had 3 teachers who went. Okay, so this is basically ready for rollout in the new academic term, which is now starting in September. This is the layout of the manuals. The manual is broken down into 5 levels. Level 1 concentrates on the alphabets. This is like the beginner. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are more appropriate for the ladies section, which is starting from nursery until class 6 for the boys. Then class 5, and then class 6 they come here. So level 1, 2, 3, 4. Level 1 is alphabets, level 2 is joining and haraka, more of PG stuff. Then level 3 again sukun to silent letters, and level 4 is shadda to stops, more of year 1. These 4 levels can be covered properly until year 1, and if all the students are of the same standard understanding, not the weak students, but the ones who are standard, the average student can complete level 4 in standard 1. Then level 5 is broken down into 3. There is beginners, intermediate, and advanced. Now this is going into the more complicated tajweed rules, which is the letters of isti'la, the elevated letters, rule of Allah, short and long vowels, qalqala and stops, and then rules of noon and mim sakin, etc. This is level 5. So if they do this properly, then I am estimating year 2 and year 3. By year 3, all students should have reached level 5. So when they come to year 4 now, they are just reciting. Now all these things, all these levels are based on Uthmān Ṭāhā script. In the Khoja community, we had the Indo-Pak Quran, the normal Quran that we recite from. So we have to transition. Now Madrasa is more concentrating on the Uthmān Ṭāhā script. So we have to transition because that is the world, the renowned Quran.
Doesn't mean there's something wrong with the Indo-Pak.
There is nothing wrong with the Indo-Pak, but this is more accurate. Indo-Pak is okay, there is nothing wrong, but Uthmān Ṭāhā is more, the one that is the standard. Okay, I'm sure.
Most of them will be not in Indo-Pak.
Yes, so now Madrasa, the students, they are more into Uthmān Ṭāhā, like 70% is Uthmān Ṭāhā reciters. There is 30% who are reciting from Indo-Pak. We don't want to discourage them, but that's why there is this learning to recite from Uthmān Ṭāhā. This is what we are going to go through today, because this is what is required in the senior levels. As I said, level 5, if they go through successfully, by year 3, maximum year 4, they will be done with level 5 and the students will be good in terms of Quran recitation. So in the senior classes, we are mostly interested in the transition from Indo-Pak to Uthmān Ṭāhā. Now this particular book, it includes also the rules, which are covered in all 4 levels, level 1 to level 5, but in brief, condensed. Because it is just showing you how this thing is in Indo-Pak and how it is going to be in Uthmān Ṭāhā. And then it also gives you the rule. So this book is like a summary of all the 5 levels. And this is what we are more interested in the senior classes. Okay. Feature of the manuals, just very briefly, there is the common features, which is the transliteration guide. So for example, the Ṭāhā is written as like that with heart. Okay. It's basically the English alphabets that I used to denote the Arabic sounds. Then number 2 is the recitation level assessment. So in order for us to place a student in that level, we have to do this assessment. This is more applicable for the babies. Then there is the general teaching tips, how to introduce and teach concepts. Each book has this. So it's a very nice way of, the World Federation has done a lot of work in this. So, and they've made it like made to measure for our students. So it's a very nice. And then there is QR codes which gives you links to the bite-sized teaching videos. There are videos which explain the rule better. Sometimes if the teacher is not able to explain or the student has not understood the rule, they can refer to these videos, they just scan the QR code and then they see the video on YouTube. Okay. And then there is the homework diary, where there is a space to share and track progress. Now this is more for the junior, but I'll just go through. Basically this is, the whole curriculum is based on ability and not class-wise. Okay. But if they start from KG, I'm expecting them to finish by year 3, year 4. So these are the recitation level assessments. So if someone is okay with reciting level 1, he will start from the beginning. If someone is okay to start with level 1 and level 2, they will all start from the beginning, because and they are not comfortable to recite level 3. So they will start from the beginning. So this is the breakdown. It's written here somewhere. So level 1 and 2 are the starting points. If somebody is comfortable in reciting level 1 and level 2, but they are not comfortable to recite level 3, they will start from the beginning. If they are comfortable to recite level 4 and level 5, as per the assessment that is given, then they will start from level 3. Okay. So basically it's the beginning, level 3, if they are comfortable to start with from level 4. Because we are going to go back and revise all that to come to level 4 and level 5. So these are the 2 implementation options that are there. Okay. And then the third one is, which is what is applicable to us, it's for fluent reciters from the Indo-Pak that know all the Tajweed rules, transition to Uthmān Ṭāhā. Okay. It's not as complicated as it sounds, but initially it will be a challenge, but for our students, alhamdulillah, they are conversant. So we are going to go through this transition manual. I'm not going to go through all the rules because I'll leave that for you to read, but I'll just give you a brief on how this book is. So this is the book that we have. These are the contents of Uthmān Ṭāhā. So you will see it starts with Hamza and Alif. I'll go through Hamza and Alif because it is important. Then there is the long vowels, which I will skip. Long vowels are basically the A, 2 counts, E, 2 counts, and U, 2 counts. Okay, so I'll skip that. Then again we go to the lesson 2, which is Hamza. And basically this goes into further of an ayat beginning with Hamza al-Wasl. There are 3 rules, and then there is an activity. Then we have the silent letters. The silent letters are basically the alif, waw, and ya. These are silent letters. If an alif, waw, and ya doesn't have a sign, then those are silent letters. You just ignore. That's the basic rule. So there is silent letters with a small round circle sign. You ignore silent letters with standing alif. Silent letters followed by Hamza al-Wasl. All 3 are to be ignored, and you move forward to the next letter. Then there is the rule of tanween and nun sakin, which is then broken down into idhar, idgham, iqlab, and ikhfa. These are the 4 rules of nun. Okay. In the Quran we have 28 alphabets. Each of the alphabet falls into one of these 4 rules of nun, which is idhar, idgham, iqlab, and ikhfa. Ikhfa has the maximum letters, 15 letters in ikhfa. Iqlab, it has the ba, only 1 letter. And then idgham has got yarmalun. Yarmalun is 6 letters, and idhar has got 6 letters. That makes a total of 28 letters. Okay. Then we have summary of rules of nun sakin and tanween, and then sukun followed by any shadda letter. Then we have the mads. The mads are broken down into mad, muttasil. Now, we don't need to go into all these technical terms because that is not important. Okay. The important thing is to know the rules. So there is mad muttasil, which is connected mad, mad mutfassil, which is separated mad, mad lazim, which is compulsory mad, mad aridi, which is exposed to sukun mad, and mad lin, which is mad of softness. It's not as complicated as it looks, but it's something we know it. If I show you, you will recognize it straight away. Okay, then there is nun qutni, and then there is huruf al-muqatta'at, those alif, lam, mim, the letters that don't have any signs. Then we have the stop signs, alamat al-wukuf, and then we have stack letter examples from Uthmān Ṭāhā, examples of word with lam alif in muṣḥaf. Muṣḥaf is basically the Quran. It's called muṣḥaf. Then we have the homework title. So that is the context. Once you go through this, the student is confident to recite from Uthmān Ṭāhā without any problem. And in fact, once he recites from Uthmān Ṭāhā, and if you give him Indo-Pak, he will prefer Uthmān Ṭāhā because Uthmān Ṭāhā has got cheat codes, which Indo-Pak doesn't have. I will show you one or two of them, and there are many cheat codes. Okay. So I'll just go to Hamza and Alif. So since we were small, we were taught that Hamza and Alif is one and the same thing. It's not one and the same thing. Alif, this letter, the one that's this is the Hamza. This is actually a consonant, okay? And it sounds like A, okay? It's the consonant, okay? And it has many different shapes. So basically, we are concentrated on this, the Hamza, the normal Hamza that we are looking at. That is actually the consonant, okay? It has many different, it can also take many different shapes. So whenever you see this Hamza over here, this, remember, doesn't have any value. It is a silent value. On the waw, the ya, this it's a consonant, okay? And it's pronounced as A. And it can have many different sizes, A, I, U, An, In, Un. And then this is called Hamzatul Wasl. Okay. It's a silent Hamza. So it can start from the beginning, it can be in the middle, and it can be at the end. Now remember one thing, the Hamza sound cannot be extended. It is only A, or I, or U, or An, In, or Un. It cannot be A. It's not there. Okay. Unless there is a mud. Now, alif, on the contrary, is not Hamza, it is a vowel. Now, a vowel, it is only there for show. So if it doesn't have a sign, And if it has got this sign, then you are pulling for 4 to 6 counts. If it has got this sign, this is also an alif, you are pulling for 2 counts. It is a vowel. It is actually just going to extend the letter before, which has a sign. For example, this letter, qira and qararin, yeah. If this alif was not there, it would be qararin, but this alif is there for making the ra to be pulled. So it is actually a vowel. It is not a letter on its own. Okay. Hada du'a'i ala. Okay. All these alifs are just vowels to pull the letter before. So that is the difference between hamza and alif. This is very, very important for us to understand before we go, because Uthmān Ṭāhā is all based on this hamza and alif. If we don't know this, then we will confuse with the Indo-Pak the way we will recite. I hope this is clear. If there are any questions before we move forward, because so hamza is a consonant and alif is a vowel. I'm going to skip this because this is simple long vowel sounds. Long vowels is basically the 2 counts. Yeah? There is long vowels with alif mad, ya mad. So alif mad is pulling the fatha, ya mad is pulling the kasra, and waw mad is going to pull the dhamma. Let me just show you how it is in the Indo-Pak. So in Indo-Pak, the ala is written as this way, with the alif over there. But in Uthmān Ṭāhā, the lam has a fatha because it's a letter, and this is just going to pull the lam. Okay, as we said, the alif is a consonant. So here, they are putting that alif on the lam in Indo-Pak. But here, the lam has a fatha, and this is supposed to pull the lam. Okay, that's the difference. Very subtle differences, but they are significant differences. So yalqāhu and this again yalqāhu. It's the same pronunciation, just that this has got an alif and then there's a fatha and then an alif to prolong the ba. Allah and Allah. Allah is written like this one. So basically this fatha and then there is this is the lam and the fatha and then the alif and the lam, which pulls the word lam. Similarly, the ya mad is going to pull the kasra. So warusuli and warusuli. So this kasra and then the ya is to pull the kasra to 2 counts. And then the waw mad, I'm making it brief because of time. So there is muḥawwidun. This is how it's written in Indo-Pak, and this is how it's going to be written in the Uthmān Ṭāhā, muḥawwidun. So this dha has a dhamma and the waw without a sign. So this waw is supposed to pull the dha. Waw is going to pull the dhamma. So this is how it's written in Indo-Pak, and this is how it's written in Uthmān Ṭāhā. I'm going to I'll give Muhammad these books to share with you so you can go through in detail. Then we have the lesson 2, which is Hamza. First one is Hamza al-Qat, which is recited as an R sound, either with a short vowel or tanween. These are the examples. Wa'idha. This is how it's written. The first is the Indo-Pak, and then the second is the Uthmān Ṭāhā. Wa'idha, wa'idha. So you will notice here in Indo-Pak they are using this alif as a consonant. But in Uthmān Ṭāhā, it is actually the hamza which is the consonant, which is the kasra sound. Okay. Difference between alif and hamza. Same here, utiya. This waw is a sukun, but in Uthmān Ṭāhā, waw does not need to have a sukun. You know that waw is supposed to pull the dhamma. Okay. And then this hamza has got a u sound. Here, the alif has the dhamma sound. Okay. But alif is a vowel in Uthmān Ṭāhā. Whereas in Indo-Pak, alif is actually at the consonant itself. The alif is treated as the hamza. Then there is this special hamza which is called hamzatul wasl. It is only pronounced at the beginning of the letter. If it comes in between, it is not pronounced, it is ignored. Wasl means something to connect. It comes from the word silat al-rahm. So wasl comes from that root. It's the root word for silat al-rahm. So wasl is something that is connected. The letter before with the letter after. Okay? It's supposed to be ignored unless it comes at the beginning of the letter. So Indo-Pak fa'abud and Uthmān Ṭāhā fa'abud. There is a hamzatul wasl in between, just to show you that this is supposed to be connected with the and the in between is supposed to be ignored. So each lesson has practice which you can practice with the student to understand where they will reach. And ayat beginning with hamzatul wasl. So in this case, this cannot be ignored. We have to put up fatha. Al-yawma. This is recited as al-yawma. This is recited as Allah. This is al-a'rad. So there are three rules. First is at the beginning where alif lam, we are going to put a fatha, al-yawma. And the second rule is when the hamzatul wasl, if the word begins with hamzatul wasl and the third letter of that word is a dhamma, a temporary dhamma is also placed on the hamzatul wasl. So for example here, there is hamzatul wasl, and then the third letter in this is a dhamma. So here it will become undur, udkhuluha. The third rule is if the word begins with hamzatul wasl and the third letter of that word is a fatha or a kasra, a temporary kasra is placed on the hamzatul wasl. So here islawha, irji', idhar. See, this one has a fatha, so this will have a kasra. This has a kasra, it will have a kasra. So only dhamma will put a dhamma, but if it is a fatha or a kasra, we will put a kasra. Yes. This down is how it's written in English. Sorry, I forgot to mention. White is in Uthmān Ṭāhā, yellow is in Ṭāhā. That's how they differentiate. So in Uthmān Ṭāhā it's written like this. So you have to know that if the third letter has got a kasra, this will be written, recited as ismi. Whereas in Indo-Pak, it's written.
Are there many differences in this?
Yes, many differences. It's not different, it's just...
people like us all our life, over 60 years, we have done Indo-Pak.
But once you recite from Uthmān Ṭāhā, you will prefer Uthmān Ṭāhā more than...
Once you recite, you need to know how to recite.
So if you go through this book, it will be okay.
So in Indo-Pak there is isbit. It says isbit.
Yeah, yes.
But in that one it doesn't.
Yeah,
There is
that's why
hamzatul
you have to
wasl.
know the rule. You have to know the rule that if the third letter has a fatha or a
Yes.
kasra, the hamzatul wasl will have a kasra.
In Uthmān Ṭāhā, one advantage is that sometimes when the ayat stops, when the next ayat starts, it will not say this way. It will have no sign in the Indo-Pak. But the Uthmān Ṭāhā, because you know this rule, it's consistent throughout, whether it's at the beginning of the ayat and the middle of the ayat. You get it what I'm saying? Like see this in Indo-Pak, if it comes in the middle of the ayat, the kisra will be there. At the beginning of the ayat, it will not be there. So you have to know the rule yourself. Is it who? Is it he?
In Indo-Pak.
In Indo-Pak, yes. So many times, even when we recite in Ramadan, in Quran, at the beginning of the ayah, there is confusion. Because the previous ayah, it depends on what the previous ayah is ending with. See? But here the rule is consistent, whether it is in the beginning or the middle, so we will know. That's one of the cheat codes and basically.
And for example, here, if Ṭāhā al-Nasi, put the front part, so this will have a
Like this in Indo-Pak, it will be written like this, but with
no sign. So now you have to guess.
So you have to know yourself.
Many people make a mistake. They say,
we have a kasra. We have a kasra.
yes. If the third letter,
This one doesn't have, here there is one
The
suffix.
third is to have a fatha.
the third is to have either a fatha or a kasra.
To become a kasra.
Hamzatul wasl to have a kasra. The third is a zamma, then it will have the Hamzatul wasl. This first letter will have a hamza. And then there is the first word, alif lam, which is always fatha. So for example here, udkhul. This is what al-jibal, because it's lam, alif lam. Yeah. And then here, idhab.
If you know, you pick it up, then
So each lesson, if you go through in detail, it's so well structured. Because of time, I'm skipping all this. Otherwise, I can convince you to move to Indo-Pak and go to Ṭāhā.
We have to start reciting on our own also for this.
Yes.
Because we know.
But it's better you go through this book first.
Yeah.
Before you start. Now, there are silent letters. Okay, silent letters are basically the waw, the alif, the hamzatul wasl, the lam, and the ya. Silent letters you are not pronouncing them. For example, in the word ni, you will not pronounce the k. You start with ni. Similarly, these are some of the examples of the silent letters. Now, silent letters with a small round circle sign is supposed to be ignored. For example, here, Bishay'in Ulaika. It's not Ulaika, because it's got this wow. If there was no circle, then you would put U. But here there is a circle, so you just skip. Ignore this and go to Ulaika. Similarly, here, you will say Kafaru. This alif is supposed to be ignored because it's got a circle. Silent letters with standing alif, you're supposed to extend it by 2 counts. Musa. This is not Musa ya, it is Musa. This ya is silent, and this alif is supposed to pull the sin. Same here. It's not salawat. Waw is silent, it's salat. And here, zakat. Zakat. So this waw is silent.
you have an example of how salawat is written in Usman.
Yeah,
That should be interesting.
salawat. Yeah, so salawat.
Because that is salat. So salawat will be written with an alif.
Alif, yes. After the waw will have a fatha, and then there will be an alif.
Alif.
That's how salawat is written in the Quran.
So how is this more accurate? I'm trying to understand. There is barely, maybe from my limited knowledge, I have not done Ṭāhā at all. There is barely much difference, unless maybe.
No, there is a lot of difference. But once you are confident with Ṭāhā, like for you, you will need to know because of your kids.
Yes. So I've been trying to read Ṭāhā, but like one, the alif sakin confused me completely. So sometimes it's
He
difficult.
left it, Talisa.
Salawat, zakawat.
Even when you were small, you were
Zakawat.
supposed to practice the Quran. We didn't know it. Similarly, it's like starting from nursery. You are fluent in the Indo-Pak, so you will use this to transition to Ṭāhā. But once you know Uthmān Ṭāhā,
I
Yeah.
am Quran science.
No, you Quran sciences you are not getting this now, but we can give you guys. No problem. No borrow.
silent letters followed by Hamzatul Wasl, you are supposed to ignore, you are supposed to go straight to the fourth letter. Yeah? From the first to the fourth letter. For example, here, Dal Qurba, Dhul Jalali, Fil Mizan. This arrow is not there in Uthmān Ṭāhā, so the arrow is just this is how it's written in English. So you will think right now this Hamzatul Wasl Bana, it's just here kept to confuse me. It actually has a purpose. It's actually a cheat code for you to know the rule to pronounce. So right now you think good. I can't be clear now.
So for Uthmān, is it more accurate with the actual Arabic or what? Because there's letters missing.
This is more accurate with the actual Arabic.
Because in English there's letters that are missing.
Yes.
So the Uthmān is the way it's supposed to be in X.
So you know in if you go in the Middle East, they are Quran without signs, Fatha, Kasra. So you have to actually know what it is. And this is how it's written without the sign. This Hamzatul Wasl will be written without any sign. This Za will have no sign. So you are supposed to know, at that level you are supposed to know. Our Uthmān Ṭāhās have signs, so they are okay. There are some Qurans with don't have signs, so you have to know.
The original Quran, Arabic script has no signs.
There are no signs.
Normal Arabic books have no signs. So Arab people know. So this is more for people like us who know Arabic. That's why we need the signs.
They know what they are reciting.
Exactly.
So it is very easy.
Exactly.
My role here is not to frighten you, to like show you away, but it's actually how to deal with what. You don't get scared with this. It will be a challenge initially, but once you, at least after a year of teaching and knowing it yourself, you'll be confident, I'm sure. Because for nobody this was straightforward. Even I was wrong in India, but right now Uthmān Ṭāhā is the preferred.
How long have you been with Uthmān?
It's almost 3-4 years now.
So I want to be practically question, are we going with half-baked knowledge or quarter-baked knowledge? So we ourselves don't know. So we are supposed to teach somebody.
Yeah, so that was the problem initially in madrasa. But
Why
not
initially?
from when you were teaching, I remember when you were teaching, you were actually teaching the rules, which was like it was not half-baked when you were teaching at your stage. But before that, they were all teaching like it was Rabee Al-Awwal, all traditional. So we have gone through that. But at the time when you were teaching, it was more like there was this tajweed.
We had the rules.
For me, I was taught that tajweed rules by Mullah. In the 5th class, he wrote in tajweed. And one whole term we just did tajweed. And that's how I learned.
That's why I learned.
With the sakin. So whenever there is no sign, you know that either it's an idgham or a ikhfa. For iqlab, which is the ba followed by tanween or a nun sakin, this is how it's written. It's basically got this alif and then the mim. The kasra and then the mim. So this is basically fathatain with the mim. So you know that the rule is supposed to be iqlab. This is kasratain with the mim. This is dhammatain with the mim. So it's only one dhamma with the mim. But in Indo-Pak it's written like this. The 2 fathas with the mim, the 2 kasras with the mim, and the 2 dhammas with the mim. In the noon for iqlab is written with the mim. So this will not go wrong in either of the scripts. Yeah, because this mim is there common. So you know that is the rule of iqlab. But the others, for idgham and ikhfa, Uthmān Ṭāhā deviates and ilham.
In Uthmān Ṭāhā, if you see the idhar, the dhammatain is normal. Then look at the idgham, the ikhfa. Why double waw? What does that mean?
It's double dhamma. So this basically is a cheat code that now here you are either applying the rule of ikhfa if it's an ikhfa, or idgham if it's an idgham letter. Idgham letters we all know it's yarmalun. And any other letters apart from the idhar. Idhar are the throat letters. Ha, ha, and
Ha.
ha. Yeah. Okay. Those 6 letters were supposed to apply the rule of idhar. Any others, yarmalun is idgham. Any other letters apart from ba is ikhfa, and iqlab is ba. Okay, 28 letters of the Arabic alphabet. Once you get this concept, and the rest is just to basically, I skip this because it's just a repeated. But you need to go through it in detail later on. I skip all these. So we have done Ilhar, Ikhfa, Ilham, and Iqlab. Iqlab is the last one. So these are basically the 28 letters that you need to know. Ilhar, Alif, Ha, Kha, A, Ba, and Ha. Idgham is the yarmalun, Iqlab is ba, and then the 15 letters for Ikhfa are the remaining ones in the Arabic alphabet. 28 letters, 15, 1, 6, 6. Sukun letter followed by a shadda letter. So in Indo-Pak it's written like this, Sukun Rabee. In Uthmān this lam will not have a sign, so you know it's called Rabee. The lam is silent. Okay. Indo-Pak Abadtum. Yeah. But this da is not supposed to be pronounced here, it's Abadtum. Abadtum. The da doesn't have a sign. This lam is supposed to be silent because this lam is a shadda. You are actually pronouncing al-lam. So here you will know that it's al-lam. وَمَهَدْتُ. Dal is silent. So here you will know there is no sign to this. You are skipping this and going to that next letter. If this dal is silent, you are going straight to this letter. Here you will see there is no sign. So you are going in like this, you get not the way we want to. But in Ṭāhā, all the mods in Ṭāhā are like this, so you have to know this way. So if it's a shadda or a sukun, then you will have then there is mad aridi, which is basically the mud when you are ending the ayah. So for example over here, if yahtasimun school for TQC. And then mad lin is the mud of softness where the fatha followed by a waw sakit. You will pull for 2, 4 or 6 months. Anyway, it's fine. And then minal qaw or minal qaw or minal qaw. Anyway, it's fine. Shafatain min khawf ila fi quraysh ila fi al-shita was-sayf. This will make it sound more pleasant. But even 2 counts is fine. And those are the months. Then noon putni. when I was introduced to this, I didn't know what this means. It's basically the this is the rule of non-cooking. رجل افترى شيئا اتخذه. So in this one, the Indo part is as the small one. In Uthmān Ṭāhā, the small one is not left alone.
It's also optional to accept.
No, it's not. Yes.
We are not
If
really-
the word ends with a nun sakin and the next word begins with sukun or shadda, then the first nun sakin is pronounced with a kasra to connect it to the next one. And it's a must. You can't decide the words. How do you think of it? It's khayra, khayra, il, khayra,
Khayra
nil.
al-Masir, and you can say,
You cannot decide.
sure, right?
How you have to recite it?
It's rule of nun.
Khayra nil wasi.
Khayra nil wasi.
Nil.
Yes.
Especially Rasul is telling us that one is optional.
No, it's not.
So if it comes a word like this one in Uthmān Ṭāhā, that means you have to recite it as khayra nil wasi.
Yes. Uthmān Ṭāhā is going to be recited written like this. In no part it's written like that.
So we have to know there's
Yes, you
a
have to know that you have to put this nun there.
what?
Otherwise, how will you decide it? First it's Khayra,
Yeah, khayral wasi.
Can't be
so
said.
it's either Khayra or
You have to
Khayra.
pronounce the ran and also the al-wasi. So to connect it, you have to put the nun quickly. Khayra nil wasi. Rajulun iftara. This next one is shay'an ittakhadha.
Problem. Taki dulu.
حروف المقطعات. This is how it's written in Yoruba. This is how it's written in Ṭāhā. This is supposed to be full for 6 counts, 6 counts. 2 counts. But this is there. In the part, this is there. But here is one. Like for example, Ayn, Sin, they've covered all the rules of المقطعات. Then علامات الوقوف lam alif must not stop. Salah is can stop but better to continue. Jim is can stop or continue. 3 dots always in pairs must stop only at one. So you stop at first one, you won't stop at second. Stop at second, you won't stop. Stop briefly without taking a full breath. Jim, Kalla is better to stop. Mim is must stop. And the circle is end of the ayah. Now, there are certain words which are stepped in the Ṭāhā. For example, here, this Ta and the Jim is stepped. So you have to know which one to pronounce. Like, you don't pronounce the Jim, you pronounce the Ta. Because with the Fat, the Jim and the it's stepped. It's not like separate. Which one comes first? You have to know. The top letter always takes the precedence. Okay. Alam naj'al. Here, ba. This is ba, and then the jim. So the top letter always takes the precedence. Ijahaz, Bikhair.
In this case, this is almost the same. In this case, Indo-Pak is almost the same. No?
Always the top letter takes the precedence. Similarly, lam, and then end of the book. And this is basically every week when you teach, you can give the date, the page number and the homework, and then parents and so this is how you can check. For assessments, in this, you're supposed to do assessments twice a term to assess where the student is reached. And then based on that ability, you can promote or keep him in the same class. Promote or not.
Now question is, in the current timetable, this fits in that. Where does